This weekend, Richmond International Raceway is full of tributes to our fallen colleague, Steve Burns, who lost his battle with cancer on Tuesday, 1 week after his 56th birthday. The whole NASCAR family and our Fox Sports family mourns and grieves and offers condolences to his wife Karen, son Bryson, the Burns family, and his extended family here at the racetrack where he so loved to be. One of Steve's favorite aspects of race weekend was qualifying, and that is the order of business today at Richmond International Raceway. So cars are lined up and at the ready, as are we, to see who wins the pole for Saturday night's Toyota Owners 400. Hi, everybody. Mike Choi, Larry McReynolds, Darrell Waltrip with you. Tough week for all of us, but we move on as we must. Brad Keselowski, very quick in practice. The Penske car is good, among others. So who will get the pole?
Well, I mean, it looks like it'll be a Penske car. They've been pretty dominant on the front row. And if you look at their performance here last year, Brad dominated this race last fall at 387 laps, I think it was. Joey won the spring race. So you got to think they're the favorites. People talk about the Gibbs car, the Gibbs cars being in the hunt, but really and truly, they haven't shown that much steam here lately. So I just favor those Penske cars.
Well, it was a little hard, Larry, through 2 practice sessions to decide who was working on what when until, let's say, the last 20 minutes when it seemed like everyone was in qualifying trim.
But I think the biggest thing, Mike, is Goodyear brought a new right side tire here, and it was absolutely throwing a lot of these drivers and teams a huge curveball. But besides from the Team Penske Ford drivers being up there and being fast, we saw names in the top 10 from practice that we normally don't see. Greg Biffle, second quickest. That right there alone has to be a victory for that 16 team, not to mention Landon Castle and Brett Moffitt in the top 10. So names that we normally don't see were there at least when practice ended.
So we have no idea who's going to win the pole. That's what we're here to find out. And for the first time at Richmond, we'll have not 2, but on all the short tracks now, 3 rounds of knockout qualifying. Let's go trackside and join Chris Neville.
Well, Greg Biffle showing speed in final practice. And, Greg, I know qualifying been a bit of a challenge this year, but now you've got some speed in the car. You feel good that that's going to translate over to qualifying?
Yeah, I certainly hope so. You know, it's so, you know, the track still changes quite a bit. It's cooled off a lot since we've run, so we know the times are going to be a lot faster, which means the car may travel more, could get the splitter, side skirts, you just don't know. But I hope we made the right adjustments to the Ortho Ford Fusion to get a good lap out of it. I feel really good. The car had a lot of grip, so hopefully we make that top 24 and top 12 and have a shot, you know, maybe to get up in the top 5.
Greg Biffle's best start this year, 16th on a non-restrictor plate track.
Well, Chase Elliott's looking to make just his second ever Sprint Cup Series start. You look happier, a little more relaxed this time around. Is it a little different?
It's definitely a little different, I think. I'm just excited to be here, and, you know, I've been having a great time today jumping back and forth between cars. So we're able to have a decent qualifying effort in our Xfinity car, and hopefully we can get this Napa Chevrolet SS in the show. That's our first goal, and see where we end up. So we'll give it our best shot and go from there.
Chase Elliott and Jeff Green are the 2 drivers with the least amount of provisional car owner points. They have to time into the top 36 to make the race. Here's one of our fastest 5 from practice. Carl Edwards climbing aboard for round 1 of knockout qualifying. It's time for NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying for tomorrow night's Toyota Owners 400. Fast Friday, presented by K&N Filter. Brad Keselowski is today's K&N driver profile. In his last 3 Richmond races, 639 laps he was up front, including 1 victory. Let's meet Brad with Chris Neville.
Brad Keselowski led 383 laps last fall en route to his win, but Brad, that was on a little bit different tire. Is that going to change things up today in qualifying?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. It's hard to say, Chris. You know, the tire's different, but the track's different too. I don't know if you probably see on the cameras how there's some sealer down in the corners, and a lot of guys are just kind of sliding around on it, especially on 1 and 2. So, you know, there's always some changes, always some variables and things that keep the sport interesting, and we have a new challenge in front of us, which is today. But we're really proud of last year as well. So we'll try to make the most of it and know that we can do it.
Last fall, he was on pole.
Well, it's definitely a busy day for Eric Almirola. It started at 8:15 this morning for Xfinity Series practice, and it'll go until 10 o'clock tonight. First off, how are you holding up, and how do you even keep it all straight at this point?
I'm hungry. I'm ready to eat dinner after this and get ready for the Xfinity race. But the Smithfield Mustang on the Xfinity side is pretty good. Qualified 4th, so happy with that. And the Smithfield Ford Fusion in race trim was pretty good, and then we switched over to qualifying. We just have not had the speed we've been looking for. So that's kind of honestly been our thing this year. We've not qualified really well this year, and we've raced pretty good. So hopefully Trent and the boys threw quite a bit at it here to get ready for qualifying, and hopefully we'll get a decent qualifying spot. I'm really hoping for like top 20, and then we'll go race, because most of the time the last few weeks we've been qualifying around 30th and then driving up into the top 15. So that would that'd cut out a lot of cars I'd have to pass at the beginning of the race.
Eric Almirola sits 10th in points right now.
Thanks, Jamie. Casey Kane, who was fastest in final practice earlier, giving a couple of last-minute tips to Chase Elliott as we get ready to qualify. Casey Mears, honoring memory of Steve Burns. Mears ready to qualify. Round 1 of 3 coming up.
I love that shot.
And later tonight, it's the Toyota Care 250 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Denny Hamlin starts on pole against a host of young guns. 11 drivers doing double duty, running both tonight's race and the Toyota Owners 400 that you'll see on Fox tomorrow at 6 Eastern Time. Last year, it was a 2-round qualifying format on the short tracks. This year, it's 3 rounds. Fastest 24 advance out of round 1, fastest 12 out of round 2, and then in round 3, we will set the pole winner.
And this could be one of those tracks, Mike, where how many laps you put on your tires in round 1 and round 2 could be critical. We even saw that, I think, in Xfinity Series qualifying just a little bit ago.
Yeah. I think the tires are a mystery. Not real sure even the guys that did the tire test got the tires figured out just yet.
Well, the weather is no mystery. It's the warmest it's been all day. It's about 64 degrees. There is still a good stiff wind, and it may be carrying a storm toward us from out of the southwest. How is Kevin Harvick going to handle this qualifying session? Listen up.
Are they going to line up inside, outside, and you can shoot the middle, or are we going to be single file? How are we doing it this week? Go down there, line up on the bottom. If you want to roll, you can. If you don't, just stay there. But once you cross the line, you have to go.
Yeah, I think we're back to somewhat normal rules. They had to do a little different at Bristol last week because pit road essentially is the garage area. So, yeah, you pull out, and you don't have to go, but you have to have a uniform single file until you do go on the racetrack.
Well, what helps is that pit lane here is 4 or 5 lanes wide, so there's plenty of room.
Yeah, real wide.
And Miss Coors Light waves the green flag, and we're on for round 1 of knockout qualifying. In this round, 24 drivers will advance, 2 will go home, and positions 25 to 43 will be set.
I see a lot of drivers that did not even pull out of the stall, including the 2 Team Penske Ford drivers, Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano, still sitting in their stall.
They're even coming up to speed. I heard the 11 car, Denny Hamlin, spinning the tires, even up on the straightaway. Takes a lap or so to really get these tires working good.
Larry, how many laps do you want to run in this first round?
Well, what we saw in practice, Mike, it looks like lap 2 is going to be the quick lap. But let me say this. I saw this in Xfinity Series qualifying. If you lay down a really quick first lap and you think it's good enough to get to the top 24, shut it down.
Or, just like the 11 car, Larry, he came out of the pits. This is actually his second time by the flag. First time he came out of the pits and he wasn't going very fast, and this time then is up to kind of up to speed lap.
Yeah, he ran, talking about Denny Hamlin, a 21.45. I almost wonder, is that not good enough to make the top 24? But he's going to go ahead and run a second lap. 21.12.
A 21.12 would make
Yes, I think they're in good shape to move on to round 2 with that.
That's a great lap. I felt like times, based on what we saw in practice, would be right around a flat. flat will be kind of one way or the other. A few on the 21 flat side, a few on the 2090 side.
Now Boyer's on his third lap. Second lap of 21.26 is his quickest. And he picks up 21.21 on lap 3. Now Menard goes to the top of the board on his third lap with a 21.09.
Boy, the times have definitely picked up from practice, had they DW.
I mean, the fastest in our last practice was like a 70. 67, 70 right in there, so definitely quicker.
Dale Jr. ran 3 laps, and his second lap was the fastest.
Well, yeah, the fastest lap overall from both practices was a 21.37. We've already had 5 drivers run quicker than that.
Yeah, that was Casey Payne in I think our first go-around.
Now, Brendan Gaughan is at risk of missing the show. He's one of those drivers well down the list in provisional points. He has the possibility of a provisional, if not in the top 36, but not a lot of wiggle room.
And, Mike, I think 21.64 is going to be very borderline on getting in this show.
Don't think that'll work.
Eric Almirola, 21.24. Fifth quickest, here's Kurt Busch in the Haas Automation 41.
Yeah, for the most part, whether you ran 2 or 3 laps, you kept getting quicker is based on our first 6 drivers out there.
Yeah, I think the main thing is, that, like you said, get that good lap in, like Menard and Hamlin and even Jr. and Boyer. Get that good lap in and then set and wait for the next go-round.
Martin Truex, third fastest on his first lap. Wow, 21.20 for Truex. And Kurt Busch now second with a 21.11.
See what this 4 car does. Harv's coming hard, coming fast. What's he got? To the top. Whoa, now you're talking.
20.84.
Yeah, baby.
Good.
It's only about a 10th and a half off of our track record.
Our track record is 20.67. That's a great lap right there. Didn't expect to see him in that down that 4 in the 20s.
Kurt Busch's third lap is now second. Chase Elliott is 7th at a 21.19.
Good job by Chase. I think that's pretty safe.
And now jumps up to 5th at a 21.11.
Now I know it's safe.
He's in. He'll race tomorrow night.
Yeah. Brett Moffitt here in the 55 car. He was pretty good in practice. See what he can lay down.
Yeah, he was about 9th or 10th overall from the combined 2 practice sessions.
Doing a nice job in his car this weekend. Coming to the line.
That's his first lap at a 21.46. So if he can pick up about 2.5 tenths, he should be in pretty good shape.
You know, talking to Brad Keselowski about these tires, the inner edge is like the harder compound. The outer edge is a softer compound, which was a combination of the 2 tires we ran here last year.
David Gilliland also on track. Josh Wise and Jeff Green, who has to make the race on time. Here's Gilliland.
And what I mean by that, Larry, the harder compound, they ran one race. The softer compound, they ran the other. They just put them together into one tire, and hopefully it'll be the right combination.
Brett Moffitt jumps to 4th on his second lap.
Really good job of that kid this weekend.
Darrell, I know it's still early, but looks like to me you better run in the 21 teens if you want to move on to round 2.
Looking that way.
Jeff Green picks up. He is quicker than Brendan Gaughan, 21.37. Josh Wise, 21.25. Gilliland, 21.35.
Times are so close. Goodness. From Truex in the third, 21.04, all the way down to Boyer. Well, all the way down to Algar in 8th.
Yeah.
He's a 13.
Yep. And the top 36 are set from speed. Then it goes to car owner provisional points. Matt DiBenedetto.
Matt had a solid weekend last week at Bristol.
Did.
Qualified in the top 25, finished in the top 25, and for that team, that's a big deal.
It is. Good bunch of guys over there. It really makes me feel good to see them run well.
It's Matt's first lap at a 21.68 in this 83 car.
J.J. Yaley.
Whoa.
Rolls out the number 23.
Little snappy loose there.
Still got about 13 and a half minutes in this first round. Riding with Carl Edwards in the 19 car. Carl was 4th overall from the 2 combined practices earlier today.
Carl won a race here back in 2013.
Well, listen, Bill, to how long they're out of the throttle here.
Yeah, roll. I mean, just a long time, more than I remember.
Matt DiBenedetto picked it up to 15th. Here's Carl Edwards, 5th on lap 2.
But Mike, even when we say that, look how
6th.
fast they're going. So again, I think it's that freewheeling kind of coasting into the corner that these cars are doing that they haven't done in the past. It's making them so fast.
Moving up to 6th is Tony Stewart.
Yeah, Newman's going ahead and running another lap in that 31 car, even though I felt like that 21:09 was pretty good.
Kyle Larson, former pole sitter here. Tony Stewart's 3rd lap picks him up to 15th, 21:28.
I think 21:28 be really borderline.
Yeah, I think you have to be in the teens. Sure looking that way.
So that would mean only the top 10 are right now below 21:20, with just about half the field having been on track so far. Stewart up to 11th.
Just jumped up there with a 19.
He ran 4 laps to break the 21:20 mark.
I would really like this kind of qualifying because I can't tell you how much pressure there was on a guy to go out and run one fast lap at a track like this. When the cars didn't feel real good on the first lap and you weren't sure what you had on the second lap, here you can just get comfortable, get you a good comfortable lap there.
Kyle Larson up to 16th on his 2nd lap. Jay Allmendinger was top 20 in practice.
Yeah, this is his 2nd lap. He was one of 4 drivers that did the test for Goodyear up here.
Yep.
Jumps to 13th.
Kyle Larson up to 4th on his 3rd lap. Allmendinger up to 13th on his 2nd lap.
This car here was pretty good in practice. Greg Biffle in the 16.
2nd overall fastest practice time of the day.
Keep digging.
Yeah, that puts him 19th, and he's run 2 laps in that 16 car.
Allmendinger jumps to 11th, 21:13. Landon Castle, his 2nd lap, 21:10. Top 10.
That thing has been good all day, too.
Amazing.
Yeah.
In a good way.
That was his 2nd lap. He's going to run a 3rd lap. I feel like that 21:10 should be good for him, though.
Oh, Larry, she feels good. He just wants to keep going.
And he falls off 2 100ths on that 3rd lap.
Boy, Biffle didn't put down the best of laps either, 21:31.
David Reagan.
Here comes Jeff Gordon up on turn 4.
Now, we talked about beating a 21:20. Right now, that would take you down to 14th position.
What's the old short track master here? See what he can do. You know, Jeff Gordon has 16 wins on short tracks and 142 starts, but you know he has only won 1 race in the last 56. 1 short track race in the last 56.
Yeah, he has 2 wins here, but I think the last time that he went to victory lane
2000.
here at Richmond,
I think it was 2000.
He won here in 96 and 2000.
Yeah. Let's not forget he finished 2nd here in both races last year.
He did do that, but
David Reagan, 3rd place, 21:01. And Jeff Gordon to 5th on lap 2, and that should be plenty.
Yes, sir.
Reagan shuts it down after 3 laps. And Gordon comes in after 2.
So, yeah, already the cutoff is Trevor Bain. He's 24th at a 21:33. We're under 10 minutes to go in this first round.
And there's about 12 cars, 14 cars down there waiting to go back out. A number of them haven't even made a run yet.
Neither one of the Team Penske Ford drivers, Logano or Keselowski, they've not even run yet.
I don't think the 1 car McMurray has either.
No, there's still 15 cars that have not made a run.
It's going to take I think you're going to have to be maybe in the O's, but definitely in the teens.
Right now, Tony Stewart is the highest in the teens, 21:19 in 16th place. And you see Trevor Bain is the cutoff.
Casey Kane, he was the fastest earlier today in this 5 car.
Cole Witt. So a 21:20 would be 0.36 behind Kevin Harvick right now, as Austin Dillon goes to 16th with a 13.
That lap that Harvick put up, I got to tell you, that's a phenomenal lap.
It really is.
20.84, a couple of tenth and a half off the all-time record here. That's amazing.
Yeah, Casey Kane made his run. Remember, quickest in practice. He ran 3 laps. Right now, Casey Kane in that 5 is 30th quickest.
Out of 34.
They missed something there for sure.
Cole Witt to 23rd. And Jamie Mack with a 21:59 on his first lap. Call that a gut up to speed lap.
Yeah, Larry, Casey Kane's time in practice 21:37. He didn't even back that up.
McMurray 21:17 is 17th. Sam Hornish currently 23rd after 3 laps at a 21:27.
McMurray's at a 21:17 right now, 17th, and actually slowed down on that lap with his 1 car.
All right, we'll go to the bubble position. 24th, David Gilliland, and make him the top of our ticker on the lower left of your screen. So those times will be compared now to 24th fastest with Danica Patrick and Brad Keselowski on track. Right now, you need a 21:26 to break into the top 24. Keselowski has done it on his first lap, but with no margin.
Pretty good first lap.
I believe he'll be one of the drivers that should only have to run 2 laps in this first round.
I tell you, I think this guy, I think he's going to be just like he was here last fall. He's going to be the guy to beat.
Second, and shuts it down right away.
That's good. That's good.
Without even waiting.
P2.
Didn't even wait for confirmation. He got to the line and shut it down. 20.89, just 5 100ths behind Harvick.
It's a whole lot better to hear say that's good, and it says you better run one more.
Yeah, especially after you've shut it off.
What?
Danica Patrick, she just like practice, absolutely has her hands full. She's going to run this 3rd lap, but right now she's 32nd. You could see the car just push loose from the center to the exit of the corner.
Picked up nicely, though, Larry, over to 20th.
Yeah, she's in right
Very
now.
Nice.
21:19.
I think that first lap was just tires.
In fact, she ran the exact same time out to the 1,000th that her teammate Tony Stewart in that 14 ran.
So that bumped Sam Hornish. Now Josh Wise has been bumped by Matt Kenseth, who is 12th after 2 laps. And here's Casey Mears.
Danica ran another lap but slowed down quite a bit. But right now she's 21st quickest in that 10 car.
Well, she got 2 top 10s on the short tracks, 3rd best average on the short track, so not surprising to see her get the car up there pretty good.
Almirola's been bumped by Casey Mears. Clint Boyer moves on to the hot seat.
Whoa, hang on to her, baby. Woo!
21:21 Boyer right now, and certainly it looks like it's going to take the teens to make the top 24.
Jimmy Johnson had a good lap going until he came off turn 4, and that thing just about went in the fence.
And he's going to have to make this run work because we only have 5 minutes to go.
I think this will be a much better lap.
Lap 3 right now, Johnson at a 21:36 after a 34.
It wasn't a much better lap.
No,
I
it
think
was
he's
not.
Trying to regroup, maybe.
And remember, he started deep in the field last week at Bristol and came home with a top 5 finish, but he's going to have his work cut out for him. Let's see what he can do here.
Joey Logano might make it. Boyer on the hot seat. Here comes Logano, and he bumps Boyer. 16th for Logano. Earnhardt onto the bubble.
I tell you, Jimmy Johnson in trouble there. He didn't pick up at all.
Got 4 laps, and Johnson is 37th.
Stenhouse.
As Ricky Stenhouse makes it.
And the biggest thing fighting Jimmy Johnson is that right there, that clock.
Yeah, he's going to have to get in here and make some quick adjustments and get back out if he's thinking about making the top 24.
All right, Stenhouse to 21st. Joey Logano jumps up to 10th. And the bump time, the bubble time right now is 21:20.
Watch his 48 coming off turn 4. He looked good in 1 and 2. Was carrying a lot of speed off turn 4. But watch this thing, man. It gets loose, and it gets loose, and then it gets looser.
Those gloves inside that race car they were speaking the truth, wasn't they? Turning dead right.
He's spinning the tires all the way up on the straightaway.
So every car but one has completed at least one run in round one. Almirola back out, trying to improve on 27. Boyer's back out, so is Gilliland, Biffle, Burton, Kennedy, and Gaughan, and DiBenedetto.
Don't worry about the 48 because he's missed the top 24 twice this year. He won Atlanta by missing it, and he finished second last week. So maybe qualifying is not as important. I always thought that how they qualified was how they raced.
Yeah.
But this year they've kind of proven that to be maybe not so true.
The only driver who has not clocked in is Alex Bowman.
They were late getting out here. They barely made it before we started qualifying with that 7 car.
Well, you know the old showman. He's going to come out right at the last second and put it in the show.
Greg Biffle not going to advance with that lap. Boyer on the hot seat, 21-19. Just as you said, it's going to take the teens to transfer.
All I got, guys.
That's where Boyer is. So here's Earnhardt, who, like Johnson, may not make it to round 2.
Nope, 26 right now, and 21-21. That's his best lap.
So it's up to Alex Bowman to see if he can knock Clint Boyer off the bubble.
Down to 2 minutes to go in this first round.
Boy, that went by fast. Goodness. About really fast for Kevin Harvick.
And right now, Tony Stewart is 22nd. Danica Patrick is 23rd. Their time is tied. I think Danica Patrick will win the tiebreaker because she's higher in points.
For sure. She's 13.
Michael Annett back out for another run. Bowman on his second lap. Again, he's the last driver to post a time.
Stenhouse at 21-19.5. Stewart's at 21-19.7. Same as Danica, 21-19.7, and Boyer 21-19.9.
Now, knowing that the fast lap comes on lap 2 or 3, if you're going to go again, you're going to have to be rolling pretty quick. We're closing in on a minute to go.
Now, Bowman only picked up a few hundreds, so he is headed for provisional land, it looks like right now.
Comes Dale Jr. off turn 4. See if he can improve. Didn't look all that great.
And the drivers that I see most on the gotta-go list right now are Brendan Gaughan and Jeb Burton. As far as those who are at risk of not having a provisional to make this field.
Comes Jr. for another lap, but just not sure the speed's there after this many laps.
Casey Mears is going to try it again. He is 1/100th away from advancing. Dale Jr. is 2/100ths of a second away.
Now, Casey Kane's back on the racetrack, and I cannot believe that they couldn't make that car go just a little bit quicker than what he went first go-round.
And Tony Stewart in the 14 had been sitting at the end of pit road. But I think right now, with being tied for 22nd or call it 23rd, he's in good shape.
I think Casey Kane can get this car in the show right here. He's looking pretty good.
All right, last chance to start your lap coming up as the 32 Joey Gase does just that. Time is going to expire now. The flags are out, so complete this lap you're on, and we're done with round 1. Jeb Burton comes around.
He was trying.
Here's Chris.
Well, Jimmy Johnson already making his way back to the garage here. And, Jimmy, we saw that lap. I mean, the car was just completely sideways. Obviously not what you needed in qualifying.
No, really puzzled. I mean, we had such a great practice session, race and qualifying trims. So I just scratching my head big time right now. So we'll try to figure out what happened and then prepare for the race. I mean, like I said, we had great race practice in the first session, 10th there in qualifying trim in the second session, and I really had, high hopes for a good starting spot, and far from that.
Well, last week they started 28th. They finished second.
Good news for the two drivers lowest in points. Jeff Green 33rd and Chase Elliott. They will both race tomorrow night. Casey Kane will not advance, nor will his teammates Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jimmy Johnson. Jeff Gordon, the only full-time Hendrick car to make round 2. So here's how 25 through 43 will line up. Casey Mears 25th, Dale Jr., Almirola, Josh Wise, Sam Hornish, David Gilliland round out the top 30. All of these drivers qualify on time. And then you see the provisional starters, 37 to 43.
That's why at the top of the show we had no idea who could sit on the pole, because the fastest two did not even make it to the top 24, Greg Biffle and Casey Kane.
Wow. Jamie?
Well, Casey Kane was fastest in final practice, so a lot of people scratching their heads down here. What the heck happened? You qualified 40th. Did it feel any different?
Yeah, it felt really bad. Car just, it's like the left sides are up and wouldn't turn. My splitter wasn't down or anything, which to me is definitely something to do with tires, because we didn't change anything. So I've been bouncing on the splitter in practice, and right there I never even felt it. So there's obviously some differences in the tires or something. I guess that could be the only thing. Other than that, everything's the same. But I had no turn there, and in qualifying practice, I was actually on the loose side with really good turn. So hopefully we'll put on a good set of tires for the race and be able to drive, towards the front. I felt like our Great Clip Chevy was actually pretty good in practice race and, qualifying. So see how tomorrow night goes.
I'm sure it'll be a good show watching Casey Kane and his teammate Jimmy Johnson coming from the back.
Well, thanks, Jamie. 2 of the Hendrick cars taking provisional starts in the field for tomorrow night's 400-lap race. Dale Jr. missing it by just a couple of hundredths. 24 drivers advance. Sparks fly and fireworks at Richmond International Raceway as we move to round 2 of knockout qualifying. Keep an eye on these 8 drivers who have only 2 laps on their tires. Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, Martin Truex, Jeff Gordon, Matt Kenseth, Denny Hamlin, Austin Dillon, and Ricky Stenhouse have only had to run 2 laps in round 1.
I think that's right in the prime, too. I think that second lap and go back out now, the tires ought to be even a little bit better for a lap or 2.
We saw the International Scouts. Great Ray Melton story there, the longtime PA announcer at Richmond, but enjoying the afternoon here.
Hey, Mike,
I can tell that in 30
go ahead
seconds.
and tell it. That's
Absolutely.
Good story.
Track promoter Paul Sawyer said, we've got international scouts to help us out here. And, give them a big build-up. So he says, from all around the world, the international scouts, we want to welcome them. And Sawyer goes running back to the PA booth. He says, the trucks, the international scout trucks. Well, we welcome the Boy Scouts as well.
Milton. Nobody like Ray Milton.
That's right. All right, round 2, 24 roll, 12 advance to the final round, and it's on.
Yeah, Mike, of our 24 drivers, 21, they actually have either 2 or 3 laps on their tires. Danica Patrick and Tony Stewart, they have 4. Clint Boyer has 7, but they did what they had to do to advance.
Racing down the outside to get out on track quickly is Tony Stewart. They're lining up behind Paul Menard.
Normally we talk about the drivers wanting to let their tires cool down. May be more so having a little bit of heat in them.
I love what Casey Kane said about Tony last week. Well, he's running better than normal. Maybe he's a little excited. That's funny, I thought.
It was a good quote, to be sure. So Stewart and Allgaier, Menard, and Larson.
Yeah, that was big time with Justin Allgaier in a 51 down in 1 and 2.
He came out behind this post I'm looking at, and when he was up against that wall right at it.
Menard 21:45, and again we look at this as a get up to speed lap. Kyle Larson may catch Justin Allgaier, and that may
get a little draft here, just a teeny bit. That'll help him.
Stewart quickest 21:35 after 2 laps.
It didn't help him much.
And right now, Kyle Larson is second in that 42 car at a 21:37.
Stewart lap 3. And it's not quite as fast.
Comes Larson for another lap.
And Larson goes to the top with a 21:31. This session is 10 minutes in length. We have 8 minutes to go.
I think this is a real guessing game between the crew chief and the tire guy about what kind of air pressure you want to go back out the second run on these tires. What kind of adjustment you're going to make there. I think that's going to be the secret to success.
Now, 3 of the first 4 drivers to go had their quickest lap on lap 3. Stewart's was lap 2. Kevin Harvick coming to speed. Fastest in round 1 with a 20.84. And Chase Elliott, who was 15th in the first round, trying to make it into the top dozen.
I tell you, old Harvick will be pretty tough here tomorrow night because he loves this racetrack, and that car has just been on a rail.
Kevin Harvick, one of those drivers Mike mentioned, it only has 2 laps on his tires. Comes to complete lap 1 with that 4 car.
Boy, Landon Castle's first lap, very sporty, 21.37, or 21.44 rather. And Truex goes to the top on lap 1, 21.28.
That car's been really good all day long, too.
Hamlin, 21.08 on lap 2.
Now we're talking. Let's see what the 4 does on his second lap.
Then he shuts it down after 2 laps.
Second for the 4 car right now.
21.15 for Harvick.
I think right now you just want to put yourself in a advanced position. Just get yourself a good lap and then wait for the final round.
Well, they feel like that 21.15, that's second quickest right now. I guess they feel like that should get them to the top dozen.
I think it will.
Well, all of the top 3 now have just 2 laps in each session on their tires. And that seems to be key. Yep.
You know, we saw a little old Chase Elliott a while ago. Right now, he's 9th quickest. When you think about it, with 5 Hendrick Chevrolet drivers here, he and Jeff Gordon are the only 2 that advanced to the top 24.
Brett Moffitt on track.
And, you know, Larry, it may just be a coincidence, but, you know, he's running tonight's race, so he's got laps on the track. He's familiar with this racetrack. He was not familiar with Martinsville. So I think running a race is an Xfinity car today, practice, run the race tonight. I think it's really going to really work well for him this weekend.
Yeah, that's a great point because the Xfinity cars do not race at Martinsville Speedway. All right, Brad Keselowski, 3rd on lap 1.
Whoa, he drove her in there pretty good. Sticking, getting a little push off turn 4 here. Let's see what he got.
Actually slowed down, yeah.
He got tight off 4, Larry. I saw about middle of the corner, really was pushing the front end a little bit.
But it should be enough to advance. Yeah. And that means the top 4 now just have a total of 4 laps on their tires. Now, Carl Edwards ran 3 laps in the first round. He's at a 21.39 and pretty close to the bubble. Right now, that's Chase Elliott.
Carl's like a dirt track racer. Got those elbows up. I mean, he really is up on the wheel.
We've got 11 drivers that's not laid a time down yet, and just looks like if you can run in at least the low to mid-20s, you should advance to the top dozen.
Sure does.
Danica Patrick, 4 laps on her tires before this round. 21.52, the slowest of the 14 drivers so far.
And Jamie McMurray had 3 laps in round 1.
But you know, Larry, I think for Danica, as we watch Jamie McMurray, I think this kind of qualifying fits her a little bit better because she's a rhythm kind of driver, gets in a rhythm, gets a little bit faster. Matt
Kenseth jumps up to 4th on his first lap. That should be enough, 21.23.
Anything in the 20s, I think, will be safe, particularly low 20s.
Yeah, McMurray just jumped up to 6th at a 21.26. Right now, the cutoff is Kurt Busch at a 21.37, and that 41 car is under 4 minutes to go.
Kenseth 21.21, 3rd fastest on lap 2. His first lap probably would have advanced him to the final round, but no one has run less than 2 laps.
I watched a little shot here of Ryan Newman, and boy, did he look he looked really comfortable in his car. He just looks like he's really at ease, and he's not fighting the car. Really looks like the car's working well for him. He looks very confident.
21.55 for Newman, though, after 2 laps.
And that's the slowest of the 19 drivers that's laid a lap down.
All right, we'll change our ticker to 12th. And battle for the bubble currently held by Paul Menard with a 21.36. Newman ran 3 laps. The third lap was fastest, but he is 19th. Austin Dillon jumps to 15th on his 4th lap.
Another car that's looking pretty good here.
Well, you see he's in the green, Joey Logano on that 22 car.
12th. And that knocks out Paul Menard.
Got Jeff Gordon come to the line here. Let's see what he's got. Yeah, nice run for Jeff. 7th.
And Logano is going to run another lap. He kind of keeps going back and forth here. But he jumps up to
10th.
10th quickest, 21:30. So now Tony Stewart is sitting in 12th at a 21:35 in that 14 car.
Logano's going to go another one, Larry. Got to put down another lap, see if that helps him any.
Slow down. It's just like after you run that second or third lap, it's just not going to get quicker.
Yeah. Well, he's 10th, so he's got a little cushion there. Larson and Tony Stewart behind him.
Ricky Stenhouse on his 2nd lap.
Got the 18 car. Let's see. He was pretty good in that first go-round. What's he got? Right on the
12th.
money. 12th quick.
Knocks out Stewart. Stenhouse, though, did not improve. And now Clint Boyer, 23rd after 1 lap. Remember, Boyer had a lot of laps on his tires in round number 1. He ran, I think, 7 laps.
More than any other driver.
David Reagan jumps up to 11th. That moves Kyle Larson onto the bubble.
There's a 15 car of Clint Boyer.
We're down
to 16th.
We're down to a minute. Kyle Larson is 12th. He's sitting at the end of pit road. He's going to go ahead and roll as Carl Edwards and A.J. Allmendinger go out.
Yeah.
Allgaier trying to improve on 22nd.
Oh, man, he got loose. I think he was pretty close till that happened.
Boyer to 17th. Tony Stewart trying for a final run, and so is Paul Menard. Menard 15th, Stewart 13th. They need to beat a 21:31 with a 3.
They got nervous with Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
He's going ahead and making a run in that 42 car.
But he's not going anywhere. I tell you, his car is sideways off 2 over there.
Stewart slowed down about 4/10. Menard slowed down 3/10. Brett Moffitt trying to break in, along with Landon Castle and Danica Patrick.
I think we're just to a point with laps on tires, you're just not going to improve.
Out of tires.
Carl Edwards is 18th. Brett Moffitt fell off 2/10. Menard trying to beat a 21:31. Runs a 78. Stewart. 21:64.
Not there. That about does it.
12 drivers will advance. We'll fill you in on the rundown after we send it to Cole Wright at the Fox Sports 1 news desk. Here are the drivers that earn starting positions 13 through 24 for tomorrow night. Tony Stewart, Brett Moffitt, Paul Menard, Chase Elliott. There's a good starting spot. So that's how they will line up. Time for Traction Talk, sponsored by TireRack.com. Chris?
Well, Mike, Darrell mentioned in the show that Goodyear has a multi-zone tire on the right side of the car this weekend. What that means is 2 different compounds, same tire. The inner 2 inches of this tire called the Endurance Zone, a little bit harder compound. The outer 10 inches called the Traction Zone, a softer, grippier compound. And now one thing I heard in qualifying is crew chiefs saying they aren't running as much camber. What that means is normally they lean this right front tire in to help the car through the corner. But because this outer 10 inches is softer and grippier, they're actually standing that tire up a little bit more this weekend. Jamie?
Good insight there by you, Chris. And Chase Elliott made the field easily this time, 16th. So looking ahead to the race, because I know that's all you think about is thinking ahead. What are your expectations?
I'm just happy that we made it in the show for now. you make it that far and you get greedy and you want to make it in that top 12, and we gave it a good effort and picked up our second time out, but wasn't enough. So I just can't say enough about all these guys, Kenny Francis and everybody in the 524 shop, everybody Hendrick Motorsports, Napa for coming on board, and I feel like a really, really strong qualifying effort for us, and my second race. So I'm excited just to be in the show, and hopefully we can make the right adjustments overnight. I feel like our car and race trim was okay today. I feel like we were better there than we were in qualifying, so hopefully we can improve upon where we start and try to move forward.
All right, now he'll run over to the Xfinity Series garage, guys.
That's right. He'll be in that race tonight. Now, here are the 12 drivers who will advance. Of the 8 drivers that had just 2 laps on their tires going into round 2, 6 of those 8 advanced. Dillon and Stenhouse were the 2 who did not. So now we go into the final round, and 5 of these 12 drivers have only a total of 4 laps on their tires. Hamlin, Harvick, Keselowski, Truex, and Gordon. Who will win the pole? Getting ready for round 3 of knockout qualifying, Joe Gibbs has 3 of his Toyotas in the final round. 2 cars each from Team Penske, Stuart Haas Racing and Chip Ganassi Racing, and 1 car each from Front Row Motorsports, Hendrick Motorsports, and JTG Doherty. 1 minute till the final session goes. And again, 5 of these 12 drivers with just 4 fast laps on their tires, and that could be key.
Yeah, you know, Gibbs has got 25 of their 116 wins have come on short tracks. A large percent of their wins, 30-some%.
Jeff Gordon's one of those 5, looking at the data. Denny Hamlin. He also has just 4 laps on his tires in the 2 rounds.
But hadn't had very good runs here the last couple of years.
No. Now, I was a little curious about Matt Kenseth because Matt's first lap in the second round would have advanced him, but Kenseth ran 3 laps in round 2.
Which, again, gives him 1 more lap than several drivers. You can see right there 5 laps for Matt Kenseth in this session. McMurray, Allmendinger, Kurt Busch, Joey Logano, David Reagan with 6, and Kyle Larson, because he did go back out there at the tail end of round 2, 9 laps on his tires.
Here we go.
Green flag, and the track is open for the final round.
Let's hustle out there. Let's go. Let's get what's holding you up.
Joey Logano rolls.
Who wants to be first?
He's the only one that's actually even rolled out of his pit stall.
Do the other guys know that it's time to go?
Well, they all know it's pretty much one run and done here.
Yeah, I know.
1 run and done. Comes Truex in that 78 car. He's rolling out, as well as A.J. Allmendinger in the 47.
Man, I'd go out there and get me a nice clean lap.
Starting to move a little bit now.
Chance of anybody getting in my way.
Guess all the rest of them are buzzards. Waiting, patience.
The track's going to stay consistent in this short little period of time. It's not like it's going to get a cloud covering or anything, so.
The Dinger is going to be first.
Why not? Let me show you boys. Let me lay one down. I got a good hot rod. I did the tire test up here. I know what's happening. Watch this.
Yeah, he's going to get the most TV time.
It's good right now.
Allmendinger and Keselowski are the 2 cars on track.
Heck yeah.
And now McMurray pulls out.
Yeah, I think it's a big unknown. You know, we've been seeing drivers run quicker on lap 2 or lap 3, but with this amount of laps on the tires and these things already having some heat, I'm not sure it's going to be the 3rd lap, maybe the 2nd lap.
Well, that's a 21:42 first time by for Allmendinger, a 21:45 first time by for Keselowski. There's a little more speed in that 2nd lap. We know that. I'm not sure how much. See what the 47 does here. Does he pick it up?
He does.
Sure.
21:33.
That's not too bad. We'll know how good it is when this 2 car goes by. Let's see what he lays down.
He's slower on lap 2 by a 10th. Now McMurray trying to improve on a 54.
AJ got out there, got him a lap, and he's looking good.
Joey Logano and Kurt Busch rolling.
We're halfway through this last session here.
McMurray speeded up a little, but did not move up the board. 21:52.
Here's Kevin Harvick starting his run. 21:35 on that first lap.
That's a 33 to a 35 right now.
He'll definitely run this second lap, and it should pick up.
He has 3 less laps on his tires than Allmendinger, who is quickest.
Here comes a full car, and he doesn't pick up, I don't reckon.
Logano with a 50, Busch with a 65. Harvick with a 35 on lap 2. He's 2/100ths off pole. Logano and Harvick both trying to take it away from Allmendinger now.
But Kevin slowed down on that lap to 21:42.
Tell you, it's whoever's got the guy that can do the tire guy that knows what to do these tires to make this last run is going to be the hero.
Well, Joey Logano's flirting in the green as he drives off into turn 3. That's the only green I see here right now.
And this is not what we expected. Allmendinger had 6 laps on his tires, and Logano goes to the top, 21:24.
Front row Joey looking good.
And that's actually a faster time than what he ran in round 2 with this 22 car.
And that's something this team has been outstanding at doing, getting their car right for the final round.
Martin Truex is on track, and his first lap in every session has been very quick. Kurt Busch from 21:47 picks up to a 21:32. He is second.
I think at the 21:24 by Logano, that's going to be hard to match.
Truex with a 55 on lap 1. Hamlin with a 21:40.
Got Matt Kenseth down the back here into turn 3. Maybe here comes Martin Truex. Let's see if either one of them got anything. Here comes Jeff Gordon.
Truex jumps to 6th with a 21:40. Denny Hamlin to 2nd, 21:29. Pole sitter for tonight's race. And here's Matt Kenseth trying to improve on a 21:56.
You know what the front row for tonight's race is?
Hamlin Logano.
Just the other way around, right?
Roger
that it sits right now.
Jeff Gordon from a 79 to a 57 jumps 1 position. This lap for Keselowski will count.
So we pretty much have Jeff Gordon and Brad Keselowski out on the racetrack right now. They both will get to complete this lap.
Gordon from a 57 to a 54.
But he stayed 11th.
Stayed 11th. There went to 2.
Keselowski from a 45 to a 42 stays 7th. And Joey Logano has won the Coors Light pole.
These guys are really good.
Tomorrow night's race.
Really good at figuring out what to do in that 3rd round.
Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin will share the front row at Richmond. Joey Logano has won his 11th pole in his 228th start. It's his first at Richmond. He's the 54th driver to win a pole here, and his 3 are the most poles of anybody this season. Denny Hamlin makes his first front row start of the season tomorrow night. Our pole winner is with Chris Neville.
And Joey, you got out of the 22, and you immediately turned to your crew chief, Todd Gordon. You said, wow, you got it to turn. Were you a bit surprised?
I was, we have a fast Shell Penzo Ford, and I thought we had a shot at the pole, but after the first run, it wasn't very good, and I was like, man, I don't know, and we made some adjustments and didn't really make much ground on it the second round, and then we swung for the fence. When you're sitting 11th on the board, you really got only 1 spot to lose, so we swung at it, and she turned and off she went. So it's typically not normal for us. Normally we were really fast in the first round, and it's hard for us to stay that fast throughout it. But you guys did a great job keeping this thing fast and getting it faster. And it's fun because you go out there, you run all these laps, and that lap didn't actually feel good because you got 7 or 8 laps on your tires, and the car's sliding around a lot. So it's funny that the pole sitting car is sliding around all over the place because everyone's on old tires out there.
Joey Logano on the front row for the 5th time this year. Mike?
And standing in his shadow is the new Miss Coors Light, Amanda Mertz, Miss Kentucky 2012, and our stat boys say she's hot. Joey Logano and Todd Gordon celebrate their pole at Richmond International Raceway for tomorrow night's race. Let's hear from the driver who will start alongside. Here's Jamie.
Well, it's the best start of the year for Denny Hamlin. He starts on the front row, and you said earlier this is a race winner. Do you feel more so now?
Yeah, I mean, I thought in race trim our car was pretty good. We had some good runs with it, but qualifying, I thought really after that second round and the times that were set, that we were sitting in pretty good position to get a pole, but our car just lost too much grip that last run, and the whole FedEx team just did a really good job adjusting on it all day, and I feel like we do have a car that can race for a win tomorrow night. We'll just see if we can execute it and get this Camry in victory lane.
All right, he'll go over to the Xfinity Series garage where he'll start on pole.
Hard to believe just 10 short years ago he was sitting here in the grandstand watching the stars of the sport race. He's the hometown hero. More from Richmond after this. Kevin Harvick will roll off 5th tomorrow night in the Toyota Owners 400. Let's have a look at the starting lineup. Front row, mirror image of the Xfinity race starting lineup tonight. Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin, Ford and a Toyota. Busch and Allmendinger, row 2. Harvick and Truex, Keselowski and Kenseth.
I just think some real magic in that, being able to adjust those tires for that last run. That 22 has really got something figured out.
McMurray, Reagan, Gordon, and Larson were the 12 drivers who made it into the final round.
Pretty nice run by Tony Stewart and Brett Moffitt. Great run by that 55 bunch.
You saw Chase Elliott there, the advantage of having a lot of time on this racetrack.
That Warrior 17th, and, Moffitt and him both got pretty good race cars this weekend.
Landon Castle top 20, attaboy, after some strong runs in
Austin
practice
Dillon,
today.
having a strong run at Bristol last week and a shot at a top 5. Good to see him qualify 20th. Danica struggled with her car all day long, ended up 21st. Pretty nice recovery there.
Nice job by Jeff Green getting that number 30 into the field. He had to time in or go home. So they're your top 36. And provisional starters from there on back through Reed Sorensen, who takes over the 34 this week. That means that rookie Jeb Burton, who's been trying hard, and Brendan Gaughan are the 2 drivers who will head home from Richmond after today. Now, 11 of the drivers that we just listed are also in action tonight in the Xfinity Series race, the Toyota Care 250.
Mike, one thing I think about Denny Hamlin in last week, in Bristol is it'll break your neck, even if everything is okay. I think he was looking forward to this race tonight, and tomorrow night, his home track, he wanted to be 100% for this race. So I think he made a good call last week.
So rolling into position are the Xfinity Series cars for tonight's race as the sun dips low in the sky here in Richmond, Virginia. NASCAR race day coming up next to get you ready for the Toyota Care 250. Everybody at the ready? Yeah, we'll be there shortly. Enjoy the race tonight, folks. We'll see you tomorrow night on Fox.